Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Assets, Projects and Strategy Committee meeting. Could I ask everyone to note the fire safety instruction that on hearing the alarm, you should leave the chamber via the double doors at the rear, exit the building through the main entrance and congregate in the car park. Also, please switch off your mobile phone and turn any other electronic devices being used to silent. I would like to remind everyone present that this meeting is subject to an internet webcast recording where the proceedings are capable of repeated viewing. If you're seated in the public area of the council chamber, it is likely that your image will be captured by the recording cameras and result in your image becoming part of the broadcast. This may infringe your human rights, and if you wish to avoid this, you should leave the public seating area in the main body of the council chamber and move to the upper public gallery. Members, that if for any reason you are not present for the whole of the debate on an item, you will not be allowed to vote on that item. Item number 1 is apologies for absence. Mrs. Folkes, are there any apologies?
Thank you, Chair. Apologies have been received from Councillor Cloak, with Councillor Aspinall substituting. Apologies from Councillor Kendall, with Councillor Mayo substituting. Apologies from Councillor Lewis, with Councillor Worsfold substituting. And apologies from Councillor Murphy, with Councillor Marsh substituting.
Thank you, Mrs. Folkes. In the absence of a Vice Chair this evening, I would like to ask Councillor Davis to Vice Chair for this meeting. Is this agreed? Agreed. No. Thank you, everyone. Item number 2 is declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest to be made? No, fantastic. Item 3 is the minutes of the previous Assets, Projects and Strategy Committee on the 3rd of December 2025. The minutes begin on page 5 and the action sheet begins on page 9 of the agenda. Is it agreed that I sign this as a correct record, the minutes of the Assets, Projects and Strategy Committee meeting held on the 3rd of December 2025, which begin on page 5 of the agenda?
Agreed.
Thank you. Thank you, members. Just to note for Councillor Barber, I believe you are awaiting a response on your action, but I will ensure this is with you before the end of the week. Item number 4 is the Chair's update. The report begins on page 11 of the agenda. Are there any questions from the committee? Councillor Poppy.
Thanks, Chair. Just my usual one, really, about, because it's, my kids have grown up now and gone to university and left and gone to work, but I'm still waiting for what's happening with Hutton Poplars Hall and Hutton Poplars Lodge.
Thank you. Would any of the officers like to respond to Councillor Poppy?
So the works have been completed on the heat system on the Hutton Poplars Hall, and that's been marketed, and we've got an interested party. The same for Hutton Poplars Lodge and the bowling pavilion, and there's a planning application gone in for to do the works around that to take a lease on that. So hopefully those two will be brought to a swift conclusion, swifter than your previous experience.
But that's the same update for the last 4 meetings. We've got no further with the lease with the lodge. I mean, that's been the nursery wanted the lease. But it's the same update every time, 3 months on, 3 months on, 3 months on. I can't understand. It's got to be the longest negotiation for the smallest building that we own. It's crazy.
I think so the works for the lodge and the bowling green are quite extensive because they include those 2 assets. So that's taken longer than we would like, and it's taken the so the prospective tenant time to prepare their planning application. But as I say, that's in now. So I can't really comment on why it's taken so long. But sometimes negotiations do. Sorry.
Thank you, Councillor Russell.
Thank you, Chair. The local impact report on page 11. Can you just sort of outline the process on that, please? So mindful it's the 26th tomorrow.
Councillor Russell, I will double check on that one for you. I believe some reports have gone to the LDP working group in advance, but I'm not sure it's that one. I will double check for you. Working group, so that may be an element on there, but I will confirm that for you, and I will make sure a copy is shared. As it's a statutory document, it's normally in process to be delegated, but it's a reasonable question, and I'll get this shared. It should have been shared probably today with you. Apologies for that. And very well spotted on dates. I'm impressed, Councillor Russell. Showed you read the report. Any further questions from members? No, thank you very much. Item 5 is the Baytree Shopping Centre redevelopment project. The report begins on page 16 of the agenda. I would like to remind members that when this report previously came to committee, it was fully exempt. So please ensure any detail or other factors are not discussed publicly in this discussion, as in commercial contractors, individuals, named companies, etc. And Ms. Duhamel, do you have anything to add?
Thank you, Chair. Just to clarify that recommendation 1 relates to phase 1 and phase 2 public realm works. Phase 1 being works around the High Street, and phase 2 being the Baytree area around the chapel ruins. And you can see the progress in the report. Recommendations 2 and 3 relate specifically to the Baytree shopping centre areas. Any questions? Happy to take. Thank you.
Thank you. I will move the recommendations set out on page 15 and 16 of the agenda. Do I have a seconder?
I will second that, Chair, and reserve my right to speak.
Thank you. Would any members like to speak on this item? That was rapid. This is progress. I like this. Mrs Davis, Councillor said you've reserved your right to speak. Would you like to add anything?
Nothing to add, Chair.
I like this level of agreement and consent, members. Keep it going. This works very well for us. We will now vote on the recommendations on page 15 and 16 of the agenda. All those in favour? That is carried unanimously. Thank you, members. Item 6 is the Brentwood Centre Phase 1 works. The report begins on page 27 of the agenda. Mr Beer, do you have anything to add?
Thank you, Chair. So this report outlines some variations that we're asking the committee to approve regarding the phase 1 of the pool works, so some of the works have been brought forward from the main works in order to avoid the pool being closed for a second time. Just to update on some of the figures in the table 1.9, further negotiations have reduced the glazing and the pool viewing area by about £8,000. And the programme in terms of the additional time that the pool needs to be closed for is reported in the report as 3 weeks, and that's going to be 4 weeks just because of the nature of the works that's being carried out. So they're just refinements that we've been able to, or that have been a result of the conversations that we've had with the contractor that's on site. I'm happy to take any further questions.
Thank you. I will now move the recommendations as set out on page 28 of the agenda. Do I have a second?
I'll second that, Chair, and reserve my right to speak.
Hello, Councillor Davis. Would anyone like to speak on this item? This is going at a pace that's pleasurable. The officers will be actually home early. This is going to be a change. Councillor Davis, you reserve your right to speak. Would you like to add anything?
Nothing to add, Chair.
Thank you. This is going at pace. The one thing I would like to say is actually a thank you, to the Officers No Development Programme. It's actually positive that we're looking at this proactively and actively in terms of problems that are appearing, reacting to them, using that resilience we built within the budget, so it's still within that £25 million quantum, and in turn also delighted to see that an extra £8,000 has been saved, which should please us all that even when we get a price, officers are still negotiating it as hard as possible. £8,000 matters quite a lot. On that note, we now vote on the recommendations as set out on page 28 of the agenda. All those in favour? That is carried unanimously. Thank you, members. Item number 7 is the Worley Depot project. The report begins on page 43 of the agenda. Mr Beer, do you have anything to add?
Thank you, Chair. So this is a report regarding the Worley Depot project. Oh,
Yeah, going to speak. You want to speak?
oh, so this report is regarding the works, the proposed works of the Worley Depot. This comes, there's two parts. There was previous work undertaken regarding the future location of the depot, which is now remaining in its existing location. There was some work carried out with the help of external consultants to identify some of the issues that needed addressing as part of the, to improve the facilities, to look at the traffic movements around the depot and also the welfare facilities. And there's a list of, on section 1.8 in terms of what those works were kind of identified. They've obviously got to be prioritised and costed up. And obviously those works will make those improvements down at the depot. Happy to take any comments.
Thank you, Mr. Beer. I will now move the recommendation set out on page 43 and 44 of the agenda. Do I have a seconder?
Second, Chair, and reserve my right to speak.
Thank you. We have people keen to speak this time, so Councillor Russell is the first on the list after you.
Thank you, Chair. A couple of observations in regards to the recommendations, if I may. R1, the committee confirms that the Whalley depot will remain the operational base for waste and ground service. I just wonder if that's within our gift to do that. I mean, yeah, as a committee, that because we're going to go into unitaries and there might be different decisions made. I just kind of can't get my head around that recommendation. I think it's, I don't know, a little bit weak, if you like. And R2, that the high-level proposals for the improvements required at the Whalley depot site in Appendix B are approved. And when I was at work this morning, I thought, right, this high-level proposal is going to take a while to download, so I'll make a cup of coffee, and I click the link, and up come this little plan, which is, in the, I failed to see what's high level about that, and in fact, why it's in there at all. So, I don't know, R1, R2, I just think are unnecessary.
Thank you. On R1, I can answer the point for you. This is because currently on the council's plans, it says we are considering an alternative location for our depots when we bought Childerditch. This just defines that we're not doing that anymore, so we can justify investment in the site with our auditors and process. It's a process item. I get what you mean in terms of unitaries, but it allows us to invest, so that's why it sounds confusing, but I hope that makes some sense.
So if it may come back, I think if that was in the recommendations, it would make it easier to understand and it would be clearer, with minutes and everything else.
I think we can just say we're into probation for waste, and it goes for Brentwood Borough Council, and we are not looking at alternative sites. And if we add that, if that works for you, Councillor Russ, I think that makes, and it clarifies it for us, that we can't judge a unitary, but Mrs Folkes, I think if agree, we'll add to the end of R1 for Brentwood Borough Council, and will not be considering other alternative sites for its depot. If that works for you, Councillor Russell, I think that just makes, that's the point of that recommendation, but I do understand your point. I think clarity there helps. On R2, would any of the officers like to add anything in response to Councillor Russell and Mr Bitt?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, so obviously we are looking at the list of works on 1.8, and we're happy to come back at a later date and update the committee on perhaps a more detailed drawings and plans as to what actually is visited. I take the point that it is very high level. So happy to come back to you on that, Councillor Russell.
Thank you. Councillor Poppy.
To be fair, Chair, my point was going to be, can we take R1 and R2 out and just do R3? You've changed R1, which is fine. I think you should still take R2 out because it's, you can't really say that that's a high level plan. It's just a picture, and let's just leave it out. And the next time when you're going to do it properly, then put it in. Just take R2 out, and we'll go R1 and R3.
Second check.
Yeah, just to clarify on the appendices, one is as is and one is showing, I think I'm right in that,
Yeah.
one, and the slightly more detailed one is showing what go, you've only got one? There's
So
two.
in the pack, there is a plan that shows the proposed vehicle.
Yeah. So that's that one. Yeah, that one's the amended.
I think, unfortunately,
Ah,
I think
okay,
A
sorry.
and B have been misordered. So I think A and B have been misordered. So A is the one that actually has the updated high-level outline, which is a planning drawing. B is effectively a Google map of the existing. There's been a slight technical error. I hope that, which, again, very well done for noticing, Councillor Russell.
So if I may, when I was on the council website this morning and I clicked Appendix A, all that came up was, Appendix B, all that came up was that plan, not the other one. So, you know, so it was in the public realm, it was
I think we need to note for the
we've
minutes in the
covered
process.
it off now, we understand, and we're
I think for the minutes of the process, we will note clearly this is it, and when we issue it, we will correct it online so the public can be directed to the appropriate, which does actually look like a very high-level proposal compared to a Google Map image, which is somewhat fuzzy. So thank you for spotting that, and my apologies that I saw the two plans and presume it. But I do apologise, and I should have spotted that, so I take responsibility for it. In that case, a member's content with the recommendations as drafted. Yes, well, no, it will say Appendix A in R2 now rather than Appendix B. Thank you, and apologies for that. Councillor Aspinall.
Thank you, Chair. Just to absolutely make sure that everyone knows, when we're talking about this level of finance and making these decisions, we need to be precise, and that needs to be recorded, what the members opposite have raised, and thank you for that. It needs to be recorded as that. So going forward, we're all happy as to what we're deciding to vote on, Chair.
Councillor Aspinall. So, if no other members speak, Councillor Mr Davis, anything you'd like to add?
Nothing further to say.
And Councillor Mayo.
Bit slow there. Can I just confirm one little thing here? There is a recycling centre on this site. I can't see it in the proposal. Is it going to remain there, or is the proposal to remove it?
Mr Beer.
Yeah, thanks, thank you, Chair. There aren't any plans to remove anything from the existing site, so it's basically tidying up where there is and improving the well facilities. The plan actually does show some waste areas on the right-hand side, which I think is where a lot of the waste is.
I think, Councillor Mayo, you're referring to the public access one. That's slightly outside of this map. That's nearer the Eagle. That's near the Eagle Hall site, so that's beyond the scope of this. So that's effectively, if you kind of look where the offices welfare are and go north slightly, that's where it's currently located. That isn't being affected, as I understand it. Well, that's the Scout. It's by the Scout Hut, which is the Eagle Hall. So it isn't effectively that won't be impacted as part of this. Councillor Marsh.
Thank you. On page 45, 1.8, the penultimate line, drainage, surfacing and fire infrastructure, outdated and high risk. Do we know how long it's been outdated and high risk, and don't we have a duty of care to the people who work there?
Mrs Marsh, Councillor Marsh, sorry. We have regular reports of the committee on the fire risk assessments that are made. There hasn't been one at this committee, but Mr Mayhew and Mr Anderson report on that and where we're up to. So while I cannot give you a scope of when it exactly has been followed, the categorisation of risk and when they need to be acted on, those that require immediate action have been acted on immediately. Those that require solutions within a set time frame are being responded to. So I can't give you an exact date tonight, and I doubt the officers here necessarily can, but we can follow up in writing. But I can confirm those assessments are being made regularly now. Certainly, I don't know how they were long term, and this is one of the elements that's appeared, and this is part of the solution to those challenges, and why it's in the public report. If that's helpful. Mr Beard, do you want to add anything to that?
Oh, yeah, when we say high risk, it was high risk of future failure as opposed to current failure.
Thank you. No further questions. We will now vote on the recommendations on page. I will confirm that we'll confirm recommendations that are amended. So R1 now states the committee confirms that the Worley Depot remain the operational base for waste and ground surfaces for Brentwood Borough Council, and we will not be pursuing alternative sites. And R2 now says that the high-level proposals for the improvements required at the Worley Depot site in Appendix A are approved. Beyond that, R3 stays the same. We're quite happy with R3. So all those in favour of the amended recommendations? That is carried unanimously. Thank you, members. Item 8 is the exclusion of the press and public. Members, is it agreed that we go into private session to discuss the next item?